Smile. So, where are we? Well, today I'm riding with Marshall and Gwyn. We'll put our heads together. Clunk, 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 clunk. We are riding to Sterling to see our son. But in the meantime, we're also going to show you a couple of ghost towns. Mostly ghost towns. Having a motorcycle or four isn't any fun if you don't have any riding destinations. So I thought I might share a few of mine. When you think of Colorado, you may think mountains, but that's only the special feature. The opening act, the section you first see of Colorado when coming from the east, is almost all grassland. You have to drive nearly 100 miles from the eastern border before the smallest trace of mountains is seen on the horizon. Today, we're going to look at some abandoned places and some of the towns that couldn't make it in the harsh environment of the dry and windy grasslands. And we're making our way to the mother of all ghost towns in the east, Keota. Videos that don't have the word review following a motorcycle model don't get too many hits, but I don't care. Some of you might enjoy being along for the ride, and this channel isn't about the money. I used to be a pro photographer, and I gave it all up right around the time smartphones caught on, and suddenly everyone was a photographer. Don't play a sad song for me, that's not a bad thing. I've done enough weddings. I've spent too many Saturday nights watching people do the electric slide, while I patiently waited to photograph the bouquet toss and cake cutting. I've never tired of photography though, and I'm always looking for a scene that stirs an emotion, for such is art. I also like to photograph old buildings, simply because someday they won't be there. I'm preserving history. So let's ride east along Weld County Road 90, and then onto Highway 14, and see what history we run across on our way to Keota. By the way, if you are in Colorado and would like to ride with me to these places, I'll be glad to ride with you, if we both can sync our free time. Mrs. Marshall is along for the ride for some of the places along the way on her Honda DN01. But for Keota, I must ride alone. And that will be done on a different day. There are abandoned homes along the way, like this one. I'm not going to go inside. My presence has already disturbed the birds living in the house. And out of respect for history, I break nothing, and I take only photographs. I also try not to trespass if there's signs everywhere asking me not to do so. On Weld County Road 90, we run into Purcell. This is called Purcell, what's left of it. Bet you didn't know they had Dish Network back in the old days. There isn't much left of the old Purcell, although newer houses are going up nearby. Purcell was established in 1909 and was a turnaround point for the Union Pacific Railroad. It was named after a real estate developer from Greeley. Locals called the railroad the Prairie Dog Express, because prairie dogs were about all one was likely to see on the ride. An irrigation canal from the Laramie River to Purcell was constructed, but Wyoming politicians shut it down, leaving the farmers with no real source of water. By 1946, the railroad ceased operations and pulled up the tracks in the 1950s. A false front building serves as a barn. An old gas station holds up a satellite dish. And I'm going down this road to visit one more structure, which I think was the school. Sure is some loose, sloppy gravel. I just wanted to get this house here. We leave Purcell and accidentally discover another town I didn't know was one, Buckingham. This was a town called Buckingham. It was established in 1888 to serve the railroad, and was named after a railroad superintendent. Are you starting to see a trend here? The post office closed 2 years later. Then the town was bought from the railroad in 1910, and a new post office went into operation. The post office ran out of a house until the 1960s. In the early years, it had a train depot, a blacksmith shop, a garage, a bank, a grocery store, a hardware store, and a hotel. The houses were humble. Some were so humble as to be made of sod. By the 1930s, many of the businesses had folded, and prairie fires have since taken all but what you see here. Whatever it used to be. Yep, gotta go this way and get the sign. Somebody lives here somewhere. Are you getting the feeling that prairie life was a hard life? On another dirt road further down the highway is a house that has changed considerably since I saw it 2 years ago. Abandoned home over by New Raymer. Let's go see it. Make sure my kickstand is solid. Guess I gave up, didn't want to live here anymore. It's a nice piece of property, I would think. Once upon a time. The back of the house was blown down from the cold wind of the north. I've been here with my real camera before. This is the first time with video. When I see houses like this, I have to wonder what happened to the owners. How many people once lived here? Did they live happy and content lives knowing no better? In many ways, I appreciate houses with history more than any new palace. This house is likely 100 years old, a testament to its builder. But will it still be standing next year? That's why I take photos. Now here's where one ride becomes two. My wife and I continued on to Sterling that day, passing by Briggsdale, passing through an almost ghost town of New Raymer, and the small town of Stoneham, before finally getting to Sterling to visit our son and his wife. I came back the following weekend to see Keota. We'll get to that. Stay tuned. This, boys and girls, is New Raymer. Here is New Raymer. It's not quite uninhabited, but it sure is quiet on a Sunday. Now New Raymer looks a little bit like Old Raymer. so it is. That's not it. That, I believe, used to be a gas station. Preserving our history, friends of Raymer. This little building over here that's concrete used to be the jail. I hope that's coming out in video. That was the prison. Not very secure now, is it? So if any of you want to ride with Marshall, I'd be more than happy to take you here in person. And you can get some photos of your own. I'm going to get just one more here. Well, let's get back to my wife. It was another town established for the railroads that passed through it. The post office is still in operation to my knowledge, as the last time I was here I saw people pulling in and leaving from it. Here, let's do it without my motor. Try to catch the feel of a ghost town. Okay, that's enough fuel. The gear would work. There we go. I'm gonna make a pass back here too, and then we'll catch up with it. Because there's something cool back here. See it? Studebaker. That's enough of New Raymer for now. Ready, Freddy? If you like this video, watch the next one. The town of Keota deserves its own video. You might want to subscribe and click on the bell so you'll be notified of part 2 on Riding with Marshall, Ghost Towns of Eastern Colorado. Thanks for watching.